Perfect.
Yeah. So people are joining at the minute. So welcome to people who are joining. We're just giving everyone a few minutes to join the call, and then we will start. I want to explain to people as well that you can leave your, if you have any particular questions, please leave your questions. There is at the bottom right hand of your screen, there's like 9 dots. You click in there and the Q&As are there, and you can ask any question you want to any of our experts today, and we will hopefully get to go through them all. So we just give everybody another minute. It's just 10 now, so we just give people more time to join us. So where are you actually calling in from today? Where are you based, Xiao Xiao?
Well, we're really international today. And I'm based here in County Kildare in Ireland.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. I'm calling in from London, so I'm based in our London office.
And Michael?
And we are calling in from China, and we based in Nanjing.
Nanjing City, best city ever. That's where I'm from. That's why I'm biased.
You're from there too.
Yeah,
yes, that's my home city. And where are you from, Tina?
I'm from Hong Kong.
Oh, Hong Kong. Oh, lovely. Yeah. My
Brilliant.
best friend here, also my neighbor, Vivian. She's also from Hong Kong.
Right.
She has flower business in Ireland. She does those beautiful preserved flowers.
That's really nice.
Yes. And Wendy, where are you based today?
Oh, I'm in Kildare too. So we're both in one of the counties in Ireland. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And from the brand list, I've seen we have most brands from Ireland, and some brands are from the UK, and some brands even international, I mean, US, right?
Yeah, we have some US and Australian brands as well joining us today. Yeah. So, okay, well, we'll kick off in any case. And I'm just going to say it again about joining or asking a question. So at the bottom of your screen, there is 9 dots on the right hand side. You can go into the Q&A and please put up all your questions. This is your chance to ask any question you have to the experts while we have them. Sorry, my laptop. So I will start. First of all, thank you very much for joining us, and that goes to the panel and to everybody who is watching. As I said, please, this is going to be an open discussion, so you will be able to leave your questions. Am I frozen?
No.
Oh, sorry. I think I was frozen there. So we're going to just introduce ourselves, and then we will go straight into the panel discussion. So then have your questions ready as well for then after that. So for anyone who doesn't know, my name is Wendy, and we have a company called Beauty Buddy and powered by Beauty Buddy. We have a beauty community across Ireland and the UK that work with brands to create authentic consumer-generated content that can be shared on social media, and it is done by authentic consumers. It's not an influencer network, it's authentic consumers using the product. We also run market research and new product development for brands, so they have the market research before they launch the product. So that is what we do, and I will now pass you over to Xiao Xiao, who will explain what she does and how she helps brands like yourselves launch into the UK, into China.
Yeah, thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you and Para X Beauty Boutique to give us this opportunity to meet the brands here who are interested to enter China. China is a massive market, it's full of opportunity, and we also need to be very cautious when we enter it. And this is why we're here to share insights. So with me today is Christina from Tmall Official. She is the head of development for UK and Irish market. And also Michael here, he operates a service providing business for Chinese e-commerce. And he does operational marketing and PR and all the required operations. So I partnership with Michael, and we are here together to give you, insights on how to enter the Chinese market.
Brilliant. Christina, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm Christina from Alibaba Group, Tmall Global Platform. So Tmall is a cross-border e-commerce platform, and we are part of the Alibaba Group, which is one of the largest B2C e-commerce platform in China. I've been with the company for 7 years now, and I always look after UK, Ireland, and the Nordics, and I'm also responsible for beauty and personal care category in the entire Europe as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Michael?
Yes, this is Michael, and from it's a Xiaoxiao's partnership in China mainland, and we are the Tmall TP partner for more than 5 years ago. For more than 5 years, and we focus on the cosmetics and the products and for the cross-border e-commerce, and on the category is about cosmetics and body care and hair care, so kind of these products.
Brilliant.
I just would like to add, as Michael is based in China, I'm based here in Ireland, and my company is called Sino Ventures. So I act as a bridge to help brands from Ireland and internationally to enter the Chinese market. So, to help you to understand the regulation, to understand the customer, and to understand the operational part. So as a bridge, that's my value here.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to go straight into some questions that we had already received, into a bit of a panel discussion. So everybody, if we're not answering the questions that you want answered, please add them in to the Q&A, which is in the 9 dots on the bottom right hand of the screen. You'll find the questions and answers, and you can get to ask a question in there. Okay, so I suppose let's start with, what do you find is the biggest misconception brands have about launching in China? What do you feel is, their misconception of being able to launch in China?
Yeah.
Start with, Xiao Xiao.
Yeah, I can. Thanks, Wendy. I think the biggest misconception is that, of course, my colleagues here can add more information. I think it's about, people or brands may think what's working in the West may work the same in China. We use social media here, such as Google, Facebook, Instagram, these great social media for us to promote and market. But in China, these, Western apps are actually banned, and we have a parallel universe. We have, the equivalent of Google, such as Baidu, which is search engine, and also the equivalent of Instagram, we call it a Red Note. And also for YouTube, we have Bilibili. Obviously, everyone knows about TikTok, but TikTok is also not banned in China. We have our own version, which is called Douyin. And also the customer behavior are quite different as well. So if you think everything works here, could work in China, I think that's probably a misconception. Yeah.
I think that's actually probably a huge misconception, because I wasn't really aware that it was nearly every platform that we're using here is actually different. And it's, yeah, so wow, that is really interesting on its own. Christina, what do you think is the biggest misconception that we have?
I think the biggest challenge a lot of brand or their partner face, so there are like parallel universe there definitely, but at the same time, so brand access, for example, pictures, everything that you use for your marketing material. So a lot of them, you might have like access for global market, but actually you might want to localize quite a lot when it comes to China. So a lot of brands actually, after years of being in China, one of the comments they made was, you don't try to adopt China market with your global access at all. You actually try to create your own in China, or maybe even adopt your global access from the China one. Okay, that might be a little bit like, depends on, which market you're going to, but then it is very important to localize your brand images and your, all the material that you're going to use in China. This is actually really important.
Okay, thank you very much. And Michael, do you have anything to add on the misconception?
Yeah, for me, maybe the major misunderstanding is in China, the consumer wants to buy something online. They want to get the parcel as soon as possible, immediately. But maybe in Europe or in America, maybe can wait for 3 or more days.
So yeah, speed is very important. So Chinese consumer, they're very used to, really spoiled by like the speed and the convenience services in China. So like let's say like customer services. So to echo to that point, like for example, in the UK or in Europe, quite often when we ask a question to customer service, you might get a response on, okay, we're going to go back to you in about 24 to 48 hours, in the next 2-3 days. In China, it's like a no-go, because basically it has to be instant response. So they're very used to it. And even with the parcel, you can actually, for example, with our logistics service, you can actually track the parcel real time. So for example, in London, so it's going through Piccadilly Circus, you can see that actually being there. So that's the convenience Chinese consumer is expecting. So I think that's the customer experience and the journey that we're trying to create for our users as well. But there's also another thing I want to mention. A lot of brands. So when we look at like what brands are, more likely to be able to have success in China, it's really hard to talk about the criteria, because a lot of brands, they're also saying, oh, maybe we're not big enough. Yeah, I guess you need to be aware of the cost of customer acquisition is getting really high there. So you need to be prepared to have certain investment to go into the country. But at the same time, you don't really have to be mega brand to get into China. It's about, be prepared for certain level of investment, but also being flexible, being hands-on, have the right strategy, have the right partner. These all contribute to your success in China. So you don't have to be, we have to be like, necessarily from a major beauty group. You don't have to be.
Okay, great, thank you. And I suppose the other questions were, how does a brand choose which platform? Now, I know, Christina, you're from Tmall, but how do they know which platform is for them, or is Tmall very focused on skincare, beauty?
So yeah, sure. So for a lot of I would say for a lot of established brand, we usually will be the first step when they go into China. So the first step, not just Tmall, is Tmall Global, so the cross-border platform. The reason being, I mean, years ago it was because of cruelty-free problem, but then since then we don't really have this problem in China anymore. But also it still remains the main route to go into China. The reason also being, so if you have to do domestic, you have to import your products into China, you need to register your products. You also need to have legal entity in China, set up a local bank account. But with cross-border route, you don't need it. You can use your overseas, like an Irish or a UK legal entity, and your local bank account. That's that will be enough. And also in terms of regulation, you basically can use the same formula, home packaging. So
Okay.
the product that you are selling at your home country, you can send that product directly to the end user in China. So that makes it so much easier. So to answer the question, so yeah, then Tmall global platform. But why Tmall? Also because we are one of the largest platform, and it's a trusted platform. So brands selling directly on our platform to our end user. So Tmall Global been in the market for around like 12 years. So all the infrastructure are very well established. We do say, I mean, there are other platforms in the market. We wouldn't really say, oh, necessarily it has to be Tmall for your first step. I mean, best if you could, but then for some brand, if they're not the brand awareness are not there yet, maybe they want to do some incubation seeding before they open store on our platform. Multi-platform strategy is definitely encouraged. Just try to understand the different positioning, how to leverage different platform. So for Tmall, if you have a flagship store with us, which is the main model of our platform, you actually get really comprehensive backend data. It's the infrastructure that I think we're quite proud of, and probably the only platform that can provide such rich level of data, and also the tools that you can use with our platform. I'm not going to go into like a lot of detail, but that's the Tmall platform. So try to understand different platform.
Yeah, and we kind of touched on a little bit about the unique consumer behaviors in China that brands should be aware of. You mentioned that their expectation of delivery, and that things need to be, I suppose, match each, the look and the feel for localization. Is there any other consumer behaviors in China that brands should be aware of?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer the question again. Definitely. So consumer in China, they feel used to shopping on platforms. If not us, will be other platforms. They rarely go on to individual brand website. So it's very important to understand different platform and try to know how to navigate different platforms. So obviously, like your agency and your partner will help you to do that as well. So on our platform, for example, content very rich. People don't just go there to shop. So for example, like Amazon, when people go on Amazon, I would compare Amazon to Tmall a bit more like destination shopping, right? So you kind of know exactly what you're buying when you go there. But with Tmall, people come to explore. So they come onto our platform to share the recommendation. They look for recommendation. The content is really rich. There are a lot of videos going on, live streaming going on. So people go there to interact. So for example, like our platform, people come onto our platform 8 to 9 times a day, and they spend in average 30 minutes with us. If you think about how much time you spend on Amazon a day, it is quite a lot. The reason why is because there's so much to do on the platform. So it's like us, a lot of people, they probably go onto Instagram, like a lot of time a day, just go a little bit, like for a few seconds. That's what they do with our app as well.
Yeah, and Xiao, do you have any difference?
Yeah. I think Christina is absolutely right. And I think she's also being very modest. Tmall is actually the #1 skincare and cosmetic platform in China, right? There are very big platforms, Tmall and JD. These are the 2 big e-commerce. But for the cosmetics and skincare, Tmall is #1. And also, I think in terms of which platform you choose, it really it's hard to say. I think it's an entire ecosystem, because when you mentioned WeChat has private traffic. So you link to someone you know, and then someone link to other people you know. So it's like an ecosystem. You and the Chinese people are really value word of mouth. They value what people tell them, the people they know, how they feel about that product. So. Okay. Yeah, so WeChat is like a private traffic, private network. And when the red note, so the equivalent of Instagram, that is like, you know, people go on that to check out the product in the first place. And, you know, they figure out what the product is. And then the most important thing is that no matter you're on WeChat or you're on Instagram, it is very important, and Chinese consumers are expecting that you would have a link for them to immediately click and buy. And that link could directly link to their Tmall stores. So, you know, back down Tmall again. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an entire ecosystem.
Okay, well, actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to some of the questions. We'll mix some of the questions in so we don't miss out on them. So we have a question from Anita. It's for Zhao Zhao. I was approached by the World Trade Center about bringing my brand to China, and they would take a percentage. Is this how your company works too, taking a percentage based on its success? How do you... Because when we were, I suppose, briefing earlier, we were talking about this is not something I would do. As a brand, I wouldn't be trying to do all of this. You need the partners that understand the market, that understand how it works. So you're basically partnering with someone else to look after China for you.
Yeah.
Nearly. So how does it work, partnering with someone that would need all your services?
Yeah. Thank you, Anita, for your question. This is a great question. I think a lot of people were wondering the same on this call. So as a bridge, Sino Ventures, how I work is that you can effectively think me as your partner to help your business enter the Chinese market. I could effectively be your business development person. So when you defined, success, so there are multiple tiers of success, you know, to register your brand, to, you know, bring your product into the inbound warehouse. These are our successful steps that you're going to take. So World Trade Center talking about taking a percentage, that's quite common. But for me, I'm very flexible. I would work with your brand and see what's best to fit your budget, and we can talk about it.
Yes, and you partner with Michael, yes?
Yeah, so Michael would be handling the service, the operational part of, you know, working on the e-commerce or working on the social media platform, but I will be the person who manage the brand's Chinese presence, if that makes more sense.
Yeah, it does indeed.
Because all the platforms will be, you know, based in Chinese. So Tmall Global, even though it's a global platform, is still written in simplified Chinese.
Ah, okay, very good. And then we have a question as well. How do I know if my brand will be of interest to the Chinese consumer? Do Irish skincare brands do well in China?
So for me,
I leave that open. I leave that open on.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for this question as well. So how do you know if your brand will gain any interest with the Chinese consumer? That will through thorough research and data. So Christina mentioned there, the Tmall platform is very proud that they have a really sophisticated data analysis platform. So if you approach us, we will have a look, you know, based on your brand positioning, we will look at the similar brands and how they do in China. And when you're talking about the Irish brands, so it doesn't necessarily be Irish brand. We were looking at for example, if your brand is more specific to, you know, say mother and children. So we were looking at a similar brand, how they do in China and how long was their journey and what kind of, you know, marketing journey they have been through. So there's a lot of market research will be involved in this.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to beauty, personal care brands, so also try to understand what sort of trend, ongoing trend in China, what they like. So anti-aging, for example, it is a timeless trend. So and they start using anti-aging products at a very young age. Chinese consumer also particularly like science-backed formula. So anything that they found, well, basically, if you have a or like a clinical trial, or it's a brand that found by certain professional, like a doctor, dermatologist, that carry weight, they love it as well. At the end of the day, I think the word that you're looking for is being effective. So they love that. And being Irish or not, it matters or it doesn't matter. But obviously, if you want to position yourself in an Irish brand, and also want to, share more Irish heritage of the brand, then it works as well. But for example, like a Nordic brand, just give you an example, Nordic brand, they also have a lot of local ingredients that are really valuable and unique to the region. So this are the advantage of certain brand that we found this ingredient from that region. So this is something that you can definitely highlight, being an Irish brand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose just on when we're talking about beauty and wellness, and I suppose what is I know with the rising trend, I suppose, of supplements, for collagen or biotin, or for hair loss or for skin, and people taking wellness supplements more so from a beauty perspective. Is that something that is you see as a trend? Is it something that is taken a lot in?
Definitely, it's huge now. It's absolutely huge in China. Collagen, inner beauty, and you just point out literally all the main trends. Anti-hair loss is a huge deal as well in China. From shampoo to scalp care to supplement, it's massive. I mean, not just inner beauty, they're also looking into joint, anything that protect different organs in your body. So they are absolutely huge.
Yeah. Anything to China, we love longevity. So anything to do with longevity, beauty, yes, it's definitely loved.
Yeah, brilliant. Just what regulatory hurdles should international brands prepare for, or do you manage those for the brand?
So on again on Tmall, the cross-border route, basically you can bypass a lot of regulation by just going on this route. So it's, for example, like inner beauty supplement, it's actually slightly more complicated to do domestic. So a lot of supplement brand that actually remain on the cross-border platform for quite long before they decide to actually take the next step. For beauty product, it depends. So with perfume, the formulation is definitely not the same as skincare, right? So it's relatively easier compared to skincare in terms of going into domestic. For a lot of skincare brand, they might face potentially they have to change the formulation before they can get into China. So, but then again, on the cross-border route, basically you can sell the same formula that you're selling. I mean, most of the formulas should be accepted cross-border. Only there are certain ingredients, for example, when it comes to CBD, even cross-border, you can't sell through cross-border to China. So there are certain ingredients you can't, but then most likely you will be okay.
And can you just explain briefly the difference between cross-border and domestic? Because you mentioned cross-border has different regulations too.
So cross-border basically is so your product will be sent from your home country to your bonded warehouse. So the bonded warehouse situated in a free trade zone in China.
Okay.
So that's cross-border. So it will go into the bonded warehouse first, or either bonded warehouse or you do direct mail. But then most likely will be bonded warehouse, because from the bonded warehouse then to the end user on our platform, it typically take around 2 days or even faster sometimes to get into China.
Okay, very good. And
I just like to add, and to have inbound warehouse in China is actually very important, because the Chinese consumers, they expect to get their product very quickly, and there are so many competition in the market. And if your product are not delivered within certain time, they will easily move on. And cross-border e-commerce is actually a very good way to test if your product would be accepted or how your product would do in China. And it's a much cost-efficient way rather than going through all the registration, which would take a very long time.
Yeah, before you know which products can sell, you rather do the testing before you commit to it.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. So how should the brands like adapt even their pricing or positioning in China? Or, you know, would you be able to share kind of data points of that's too expensive or that won't sell at that price? Or like, is there a certain positioning that you'll be able to advise?
So for me, when I talk to, I talk to a lot of brands, for me, my advice is always like, also try to remember Chinese people nowadays, they travel a lot, they travel everywhere. So they will be able to, the information are quite transparent. So they know exactly how much you're selling in your home market. So we always say, as close to your home market as possible. But then obviously we know that it's not always possible. But data actually show that if your pricing is 10-50% higher than your home market price, you might have problem with also gray market as well, gray channel. Obviously like gray channel also depending on how the brand control their global supply chain. But that could lead to, gray market. And also people might find it, okay, that's too expensive to buy in China. So that's normally the range that we ask brand to pay attention to. But I'll also leave it to the operation expert to tell you guys how they look at it.
Yeah, of course. I wonder if you could run through a live kind of experience that a brand that decides to go this route, and with yourself, Xiaoxiao, like how, like, I suppose when people think of China, they think of, I need millions of products in stock, you know. Is there a way of testing the market and being in the, you know, in the warehouse and seeing if the product takes off before they have to supply? Or if a product takes off, are they expected to have the quantities? Like, what are the quantity levels for somebody that really wants to get into China, but obviously wants to see how it works?
Yeah, really good question. People are wondering, you know, should I have a massive amount of products that just left it in the inbound warehouse? Nobody wants to do that. So everyone wants to test the market and ship as minimum as possible to see if they get the liking from the Chinese consumers. And one thing I have noticed is that there are many products that international brands, they're not in China yet, but they're trending in China because of the social media. So Chinese people outside of China also accessing the Chinese social media, such as Red Note, and they would say, oh, today I find this product that is Irish made and it's really, really good. And people will be saying, oh, where can we buy it? Where can we buy it? And somebody else would say, you know what, I've used that product as well, and it's really, really good. And then there are individual private shoppers would actually buy this product for Chinese consumers. So there are many ways to ship product into China. In that way, you already know, you know what, my brand is actually known in China. There is a bit of attraction. Let's do it. But I wouldn't recommend anyone just to do it like a big bang effect unless you've deep pockets. So go with cross-border route and ship that much, and also do a bit of research on what the social media have say about your product, you know, and what's your, say, star product, and what's selling best in your home market and in other international market you have already explored. And then focus on these products and then put them into the Chinese market first.
Okay, and just Michael, just on the market, the marketing side of it, I suppose, you mentioned earlier that it's the customer acquisition cost is higher and is getting higher, and you talk about Red Note, and I suppose we don't have that or don't use that. What type of like marketing budget would you, I know very hard to say, but what you know, what is the type of marketing budget to get people to even interact or to hear about your brand that you would recommend?
他刚才问的是那个在小红书上这个
要多少钱？
预算是吧？这个很 我用中文说啊，这个很难一概而论的来说，这个比如说达到多少的预算就能够达到达到预期怎么样的，这个很难这个一概而论。就是在中国的要不要那个你先来翻译一下。
How to say? Okay, I translate Michael. He said that it's very difficult to get the expected effect. It's because how to say, the invest in Red Note is different, and if you wrote some KOL to do the marketing in Red Note, but it's hard to say that you can get the right effect that you want. It depends on the KOL's influence and the products, because the marketing in Red Note have some difference. The first we made put some note in Red Note to let people care about your brands, and then we asked KOL to do some marketing to introduce to your products, and that is the second step. And the third step, because the marketing is a long step, not means that you do this marketing you can get what you want.
Generally speaking, some of the brand will the budget about 20% for the sale volume in the marketing. Marketing is different from the social media, and for example in Xiaohongshu and Douyin, and another marketing budget is in the in Tmall Global, about 5 to 15% for especially for the new brands.
So
Maybe
the marketing budget is the marketing budget would normally be, I think, I guess our view on that would be quite similar to yours. So normally we do say to be prepared to have at least like 20 to 35% of marketing budget, like of your GMV.
Yeah.
Your targeted GMV in the market. So that would normally be divided into two parts. So in-platform marketing on Tmall, and out-platform marketing. So different social medias like Direct Note, Douyin, or other social media channels. So that would normally be advised to be on that level. But obviously it depends on the brand existing brand awareness in China. So I think what they're trying to say was also sometimes it might be quite challenging to know the ROI, because there are a lot of trial and error. I think brands just need to know that. So you might have to go with like different KOL to try out which one works, because they all have like different target group, they have different fan base, follower base, so you need to find the right one. But 20 to 35% would typically be what we would advise. But for some brand, okay, if you're starting from zero, and the initial cost could be a bit higher, because I mean, to kick off is always cost a little bit more, right? Yeah, but then ongoing, we always say make plan for the next 3 years. So ongoing the second year supposed to be slightly lower, but then still be prepared to continue investing second, third year. It won't dramatically reduce just because you put in quite a bit the first year. That's the reality in China. Yeah.
It's a very competitive market, so you need to positioning from the very beginning, and also the social media will help you to understand similar product as your brand, how they do it. And as Christina mentioned there, 35% of your GMV GMV as marketing budget, but that's shared between the Tmall platform and RedNote, like other social platform. And
Okay.
also, Michael and his colleague mentioned that we have a KOL and influencer. So the influencers, we can test with micro influencers first, more authentic posts. As you grow, you can looking for the KOLs who are the industry leaders and the key opinion leaders. So they're seen as expert. So they'll be able to give you give a better post or better content. So not always the better, really. Maybe different people see it differently, and you'll be able to grow your brand that way.
Yes, and I just go to that.
And
Um,
life
Just
is
sorry, I was just the questions there. Somebody's asked, what are the biggest challenge a new brand faces with cross-border e-commerce, and what are the most efficient ways to overcome them that you found? So what is the biggest challenges a new brand faces with the cross-border e-commerce, and what are the most efficient ways to overcome them? And I suppose this comes back to having the partner to do this for you, really, I suppose.
Yeah. So to go cross border, it's actually already like I mentioned before, you already bypass quite a lot of regulations. Challenges, I actually think that's a lot to do with business plan. So how much stock you want to to get to estimate, right, to put it in the bonded warehouse. When it comes to beauty products, so in China, I think not of every country has this regulation. Basically, we have so there's shelf life regulation on shelf life. So you need to still have 2/3 of shelf life remaining to be able to get into the bonded warehouse. So basically, anything later than that, soon to be expired, you're not allowed to put in the bonded warehouse. And if your product's sitting in the bonded warehouse for way too long, then you're not able to sell it as well. Exactly. So I think that's also one of the challenges. So you will need to be able to get the numbers right. So start from small, but then on our platform, for example, like there are different marketing event like W11, that's biggest, or like 618, the second largest festival. So you see a spike in sales during those days or period of time. So then you need to also make sure that you don't run out of stock. So I think that's probably the challenge, because the warehouse is not right next to you, and you have to ship the right product there and be able to estimate. You're probably like doing like 3-4 scale, but then which one is your hero scale, then it might sell much faster. Then you need to be able to replenish sooner.
Yeah, and I also like to add that before your product enter the inbound warehouse, even though you can bypass regulations and all of tedious regulatory rules, but you still need to make sure that you have the correct labeling on the product, so you have the correct filing with the custom, so your product can land to the inbound warehouse without problem.
Okay, and just another question is, what is the smallest quantity or that someone could start with? I think just to just get some numbers around starting, as in not figures of expense. I'm talking about the amount of products that should be in the warehouse, say.
Through cross-border, I have worked with an influencer, and she herself is an influencer in China, and she was very interested in one of the, it's actually a really good brand in Ireland, in one of their skincare product. And what she did was she bought 500 of those, and she started tested through her live selling channels, and it was doing very well. And then she started to, make it bigger. So there are many ways. So if you start with 500, something like that, if you one star product that is doing really well, and someone could approach you and say, listen, I think this is a great opportunity, we can work together. And, you can start from very small, but if you want volume, if you want really the good revenue, then you need to go on the Tmall Global. So that's where the platform will help you and to give you much more exposure and volume.
Yeah, so that depends on, really highly depends on at which stage you're at, and where about, like, you know, how are you going to start with your journey in China. And yeah, that's true. Like when it comes to Tmall, then obviously, like it depends on your target GMV, right? Like how much product you want to get in. But I think Charlie here also made a really good point. Like so if you're not starting with Tmall, then so the different channel that you're looking at or different way that you're selling, so it really depending on who you're using. Influencer, they might have different requirements. So there are also influencer in the market that they might say, oh, you prepared X amount of product, but then at the end of the day, they might not sell everything. So I think like Sasha actually get a really good deal out there. So probably like really good connection, but then it really highly depends on the influencer as well.
Yeah.
And does the other question is about the brand owner? A lot of in Ireland, UK, it's very much about the founder story, and it's about, you know, behind the scenes and all that kind of different posts and stuff like that. When someone launches in the Chinese market, is the founder still involved, or do you just, you know, localize it with the founders not in it, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. So actually, it's when it comes to beauty, I think brand heritage is actually very important. They so Chinese consumer, they do a lot of research, so very educated decision when they make a purchase. So they do look at all the brand story. So I would say not necessarily how, you know, the life story of the founder, but then it's whether or not what they do, what they say, what they've, you know, formulated for you carry weight or not. So it leads to, so the story actually leads to the product being really effective. So that's something they will look at.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would enhance the brand in a way, because when people are looking for product, they want to find something that resonate with their own value and resonate with what their own needs, right? They see themselves in that product. And that's why we use KOLs, we use influencers for content generation. But if a founder is able to do that herself or himself, then it would bring the consumer even closer to the brand.
I can give an example actually. So in the UK, there's a lot of Irish UK brand here. So UK brand called 101 Skin. So I think a lot of brands know them, right? So the story, I mean, the story is pretty interesting, right? So the plastic surgeon basically couldn't really find skincare product that helped with his patient. So he made his own, and husband and wife team. Then they found 101 Skin, which is really convincing because obviously, like, the founder is a plastic surgeon, so everything to do with skin recovery and all that. And in China, microsurgery, you know, little cosmetic procedure here and there are very popular. So people are also looking at product that help them to recover. So their story actually hit quite a few good points people will be looking at. So this kind of story really, really resonate what they really looking for. So that really works.
Yeah. Well, that absolutely makes sense. So if you had any sort of clinical or market research or anything like that that can back up the product and the efficacy of the product, that is what will add value in the Chinese market. And just as I was saying about the founder's story, what is if the founder was going on and helping or doing stories on the like Red Note or for Red Note or whatever, is the language barrier a piece? Is that a problem if they are doing something in English?
Red Note is Chinese based. But if you do English, and you can use AI nowadays to do, you know, subtitles in Chinese.
But that's acceptable. I was just wondering if that's
that's acceptable. Like a lot of brand, they also do something like trace back to their origin. That kind of program actually quite popular on Tmall or in China in general, because they want to see where the product's coming from. So
Okay.
quite often you will have someone actually from the home country talk about the product, introducing the facility and everything. So they will normally present in the local language, and it will be translated by subtitle or
Okay.
someone will translate it. It's totally acceptable, and actually it actually add the authenticity of the whole video, the presentation.
Yeah.
Good. I just want to make sure. Oh, sorry. Anita is asking, what type of investment is needed to bring your product to China? And I think if I know this, Anita would have a hair loss product called a Nutri, which is a supplement. So she has that is the product that she has in Ireland. Now she has a select other pieces of products for hair, as you were talking about the scalp and all of that, and has recently kind of got into like one of the the bigger retailers here from our hairdressing salons have taken it in now as well as that. So she would have a lot of real authentic before and after photos, and it's very authentic journey. But for someone like her that knows nothing about the Chinese market, and I think this is one of the preconceptions as well, like does she need $250,000 to start? Does she need 100,000 to start? I think it's just that, what can she do if she wanted to do something tomorrow, to start? I think I think that is when people think of China, they think millions. They just think of, instead of, like, as you said, maybe it's, with yourself, and then get a KOL that actually might do a deal and see how it goes, or test that. What does that look like?
Yeah. So I'm going to answer this question. I'm sure Christina and Michael can add more information after. So Anita, so what does it take to bring your product to China, right? If I tell you, if you are a big company, right, you're like L'Oreal, I'll tell you, you can put in millions into China and your return will be very quick. But if you're a company starting up and working on your, work using the profit, what you get, and then into your investment, that's just going to take time. It's going to take time, and it's normal. So the hair product, it's very good product. It would fit into the beauty market. It would also fit into the Chinese big health sector. So it's actually quite in trend. And for you to have all these authentic pictures of before and after, that even speaks stronger. So it really depends on your budget. But what I would do, because success takes steps. So I would say, first of all, if you have the expert mindset of going to China, register your name first. Because in China, the brand name registration is first come, first served.
You mean the trademark or the name?
Yeah. Sorry, trademark.
Yes.
So your name, protect your name, but just in case your name be.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So at least do that. If you have the budget, do that first. So that would be a success. Then look at the regulations, and then we can look how you want to position your product. Based on your budget, if the budget is small, I would recommend with cross-border e-commerce first, and then we test the market, see what the market is thinking. Also, China is really a continent masculating as a country. There are so many different dialects, languages, So we have tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities, and then we have, the rest of the tier cities and villages. Consumer act completely different. I'll give you a quick example. If you are marketing something as artisan, that probably work in Shanghai or Beijing and, the tier 1 cities. But it doesn't really work for, the other country or countryside or villages. They be looking for something that resonate with their, family value, something more like that. So when we position a product we have to look at how we position it and where we want to go and what's our end goal. So once we have that in mind, we decide, you know, this is the way we want to go. And that's why we're here. I'm here. If you want to have a talk with me, I can look at your product, help you to position based on your budget.
And that's the whole point of this. Anybody that is interested can connect and have those conversations if China is a market that you're definitely, you know, you're interested in. And we can send, if everybody doesn't mind, we can share emails to anyone who is on the webinar that has any questions. That's no problem at all. And just to remind people, if you have any questions, because we literally have 5 minutes left, that actually flew. There is the 9 dots at the bottom of the right-hand corner. Get your last questions in if you have one. And I suppose just we'll see if anyone else has a question, but just final remarks from each of you about brands launching Ireland, UK, or from whatever. I know there's some Australian brands about how to get over the fear of looking at China as a whole instead of just even a tier or a city, one at a time.
So I actually think I do think China is quite intimidating for a lot of people. Language barrier, it's just like uncharted territory for a lot of people, right?
Yes.
So, but I do often say, well, a lot of people that have dealt with China after they would say, you know what, it's easy and not easy at the same time. It's quite straightforward because you're dealing with just one market. If you're going to the US, you're tackling different state. So it's all about getting it right. And I think the good thing about China is e-commerce is absolutely huge. So, and everything is so well established. Just the cross-border platform, for example, just our platform, we have like around 100 million plus active user. So that's pretty good place to start with, right? But obviously, so how to tackle like all the other thing that we're not familiar with. There's also why agency and local partners, you know, it's important to have them because you can look at it as like, when you sell on Amazon, you also have Amazon partner. So these are the experts that they help you to navigate Tmall, outside of Tmall, different platform. So they will be able to guide you with that. I think the other thing, like people keep asking, is how much money we really need to get in. I think, yeah, it seems like we didn't really give you a final number because it depends on the situation. Yeah. So a lot of time, maybe we would say, oh, you know what, like marketing budget, maybe you should really looking at like starting point like 100K, 200K euro for, you know, as a starting point. I've seen like different cases, some with a zipper pocket, yes, some they don't, but they still make it. So there are brands, they start with like just, you know, doing a lot of collaboration with influencer, and gradually they build up the brand awareness and they get bigger and bigger. And in 3 years' time, they had Tmall store. So that would work. If you have a more aggressive plan, you can be on Tmall the first year or the second year. So it really, really depends. Yeah, so my take is China could be difficult. The difficult part is like, you know, trying to learn different landscape in there. But then a lot of the application that we mentioned before, like all the Google equivalent or like YouTube equivalent, like part of our app, well, under our ecosystem, like Youku, for example, effectively YouTube. So it's just the same way that you're using in the West. You just need to know what they are, and that's it. So it's not as intimidating once you get in there, but then it's definitely a learning curve.
Thank you, Christina.
Yeah, I want to add that, you know, especially for Irish businesses in Ireland, we have a unique environment that we want to export from the day one. And we need to export because our market here is small. And we are known for creating really good and premium products, right? And also the thing is, if we're here today, we already have the entrepreneur mind. We're not fearsome. We already seeing there are so many brands that have already made successful stories, and these are good encouragement for us to learn. But at the same time, we'd be very cautious. But because we're realists as well, we look at the risks and we calculate and we evaluate. So we make sure that every book make its bang.
Great. Michael, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Maybe for us, I think for the brand from Ireland, or I think maybe the most important thing is take the decision and to get the business through Tmall Global, through Xiaoxiao and us. Maybe the first successful steps for the successful business in China.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps it up pretty much for us. You know, so thank you so much for your time. It has been so informative. We will, as I said, share this across our YouTubes and our Googles and the different platforms, and share it with all our brands in our newsletter. I really appreciate you taking the time, and thank you everyone who joined and has listened and added questions. And I think actually we haven't got a brand ourselves. Obviously, we help the brands do content and that would be used on different platforms. But it sounds like a very exciting opportunity. Really does. Sounds like a really exciting opportunity with the right people to support you. So again, thank you for your time and for joining us.
Thank you so much,
you.
Wendy. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
and
you.
Wendy, you
Thank
could
you.
be a KOL.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.